welcome to another episode of Couch Chats. I am Todd, and today we are with another one of our brand ambassadors. This is Marissa Langlois from Michigan. What's going on, Marissa?
Oh, not a whole lot. Living the dream.
Living the dream. We're always living the dream, huh? We're in the summer now, and so it's easier to live dreams during the summer. We can get outside and do stuff. So.
Yeah.
This is your first time on Couch Chats, right?
Yes, it is.
So tell us who you are. Let our audience know. Who are you?
So I'm Marissa Langlois. I'm a brand ambassador at Fall Obsession. I'm from Michigan. Obviously, I live right next to Todd. I am a junior in college. I go to Aquinas, a local Grand Rapids college. I'm a health science major. I'm a barrel racer. I work in an ophthalmology office. I work at a golf course. I try to do it all.
So you mentioned barrel racing. I know it's a big part of what you do. You know, that's how we met. I think you and I met. You knew Heather when you had her as a teacher, right?
Yep.
But Marissa came over and helped our daughters, Piper and Tala, with, riding horses, basically. And we were actually working with Cherokee, trying to get her trained. And unfortunately, she had an accident. And not Marissa, but the horse.
Mm-hmm. I'm still here.
But so we were on vacation in Oregon, and the fair went on, right?
Yeah.
Berlin Fair. How did that go?
So this year, actually, due to an injury that is not seen on camera, I did not attend.
Oh, that's right.
I had every ambition of going this winter. I had everything set up, stalls paid for. I had signs done and everything because I have a new horse. I want to do everything I can with him. And then I had surgery in May on my knee. Okay. So I didn't even go. I wasn't even lucky enough to go this year.
Really?
I think it's my first year I've missed since I was 5. So I'm a little bummed, but from what I've seen and heard from all of my friends and family, everybody had a great time this year, and it was actually not too hot, thank God.
Yeah, not like now. I mean, we're in the 90s right now. It's crazy outside. And in Michigan, it's funny because we met last night as kind of a Fall Obsession group. We get together once a month just to see how everybody's doing and just connect. And we were talking about the weather last week was, geez.
Yeah, that was insane.
It was insane. But here in Michigan, you get bad humidity in the summertime. We're talking 70, 80% humidity, which it feels like readings are, I mean, if it's in the 90s, you're talking, it feels like 100 degrees outside. And that's not, I mean, that's more like Texas.
It's unbearable.
Yeah. But so anyway, so explain horse racing and barrel racing a little bit more. Obviously, you couldn't race at the fair, right?
Yeah.
But prior to your surgery, you were doing a lot of racing.
Yeah. So we have a goal. Me and my friend that I run with, we have a goal. We run at least 3 times a month. We have at least 5 on the schedule, but we try to attend 3 of those. I got my new horse in July. Started working with him. I got him in the end, so I started working the beginning of August, putting him on the pattern, training him. Getting him onto the basics, and he actually took really well to it. So we started seriously competing in about January.
Okay.
And we earned enough points to attend nationals.
Okay,
and
cool.
As it sat the day before my surgery, I was number 4 in the state in my division.
Okay.
In the adult division.
Okay.
So it was super cool.
Right.
We're doing really well. He's so smart.
And nationals are coming up in September, right?
Yep.
Are you going to be healed enough to be able to ride? Or?
So I'm technically cleared the day before state finals.
Okay.
However, I need to practice before then, so I will be back for states and nationals.
Okay, cool.
Thankfully.
All right. Cool. So you also mentioned the fact that you're still in college, right?
Yep.
And you compete collegiately at golf, right?
Yes, I do.
Talk to us about that. Did this injury come from that?
No. So my injury, what you guys can't see below the camera here, I had knee surgery. I had a ligament replaced called your MPFL because over my lifetime I played, I think, 18 years of soccer combined.
Oh, yeah.
And that takes toll on the knees. For sure. Running and saying, just walk it off when you should not have walked it off. Yeah. So I had an overstretched ligament, and in January, I was at golf practice, and it just kind of felt weird, and it hurt more than normal. And I was like, hey, it's pretty swollen. I should probably go see the doctor. And I saw the doctor, and she's like, you need to go see your orthopedic doctor now. Something's not right. And I had managed to rip off about 3 centimeters of cartilage, and it would
From golfing?
Yeah, just practicing.
So you guys full contact golfers or what?
Something. You would think.
Happy Gilmore?
You would think. And so my surgeon, he said, 3 years ago, I told you might need it. And I said, no. And now here we are. And I had surgery. Gotcha. But I'll be back. They said like 3-month full recovery time.
And so in terms of your eligibility, you still have one more year. You're able to finish the year out this year. Or were you able to finish the year out this year?
I went to 3 practices in the spring before my injury.
Oh boy.
3 practices in total. I didn't get as far as I'd like. Mm-hmm. And I think we were discussing, I have some meetings yet about giving me an extended season.
Sure.
Or another year to play, just
like
because I lost so much time. Yeah.
Your medical red shirt probably, huh?
Yep.
So you have 2 more years then. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So how has it been going prior to this, leading up to your freshman, sophomore year?
Chaotic.
Okay.
We got a new coach 2 weeks before my first season.
Okay.
The original coach left to go to a different college, mm-hmm. and the new coach that we hired has never coached before.
Oh, really?
So college athletics is a lot different than high school athletics.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you need someone who knows the mm-hmm. job, knows what mm-hmm. to do and how to work with the athletes. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a coach that wants it his way or the highway and you're not willing to work with adults, mm-hmm. it makes it a really tough time. It's mm-hmm. tough to want to be there. It's tough to want to do anything.
Gotcha. So you mentioned something like collegiate athletics is different, obviously, right, mm-hmm. than high school athletics. If we had somebody sitting here right now, a high schooler, let's say, mm-hmm. I want to play college athletics, what advice or what would you tell them?
Figure out how to practice on your own, especially for golf, since it's such an individual sport. Mm-hmm. Like you're on a team, but you count an individual score, not a team score. So I would tell them, make sure you figure out what practice works for you and mm-hmm. what you need to do to improve your game on your own. Because you're not always going to have a coach there saying, like, you need to work on your short game. You need to work on irons.
Sure.
You need to figure out a way to analyze, like, oh, I just had a bad round. How can I break that down and then take that to practice and make myself work on it? Mm-hmm. So a lot of discipline, too.
Gotcha.
Self-discipline.
Do you set up... So when you're doing this individually, do you ever set up cameras and analyze yourself?
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Really?
Especially since I work at the golf course, I have a couple more tools at hand than other people. Mm-hmm. We have these really nice TrackMan simulators, and I'll use those. And so I'll get stats from my swing, and I'll be able to look at the numbers from that and be like, oh, I'm swinging too over the top, or I'm mm-hmm. not getting down on it far enough, things like that. Or even just setting my phone up on a tripod so I can see, like, oh, my hands are too far sure. one way or too far the other way.
Sure.
When you play for as long as you have where you're competing in college, right. you kind of get a little bit of knowledge and say, oh, I know, like, something's wrong. I can probably pick it out.
Exactly. And you got to look for any advantage that you can to get over on your competitor. And so, so some things, one of the things that popped in my head as you were talking was that, when people ask me, I played college baseball, and when people ask me what advice I had, I would say you really have to love the game.
Yeah.
Love the game that you're competing at that level.
Yeah.
Because if you are just showing up and just doing the work and that's it, you pick your glove up at start of practice, you put your bat down at the end of practice, and that's it, that's not going to cut it.
No.
Because it is grueling, right? I tell people when I played, baseball was a 363-day job. We got Thanksgiving and Christmas off. That was it.
Yep.
And so, and even in season, we were out on the field by 8:00 in the morning, and a lot of times we're getting off the field at 9:00 at night, and that whole time we're on the field just working on stuff. Like you said, you really have to love the game. Yeah. And if you don't love it, you have to find that love. You know what I mean? Figure out how to love it. If you don't love it, you shouldn't be playing. Right. Because you're kind of wasting your time. And that kind of goes along with anything, regardless if it's collegiate athletics, regardless if it's your job, regardless if it's hunting in the outdoors, right? If you don't love it, why waste?
Right.
And so that was the first thing. And the second thing, technology you talked about. And when I played, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have. Right. We had the camcorders that sat on your shoulder mm-hmm. that were about that big.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But even that, the VHS tapes, and it wasn't readily accessible like cell phones are and some of the technology now. Flipping that to hunting, one thing that changed my entire season last year was using analytics.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. You talked about the advantage it gives you as a golfer.
Yeah.
One thing, Ryan Redding, actually, when we went to New York, he showed me on Tacticam how you can play the data. You know what I mean? You can play the wind. You can see how many pictures you're getting out of a northeast wind, for example, and where they're coming out in the fields and what time they're coming out and the temperature, all that stuff. I started playing that. Man, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
What an advantage, right?
Yeah.
You know, an advantage as a golfer, an advantage as a hunter. You know, what an advantage. And it's utilizing that technology will make you, you know, will definitely help you, your chances of success. So as we flip to the hunting and outdoors, how did you get involved?
I got involved at a very young age. So my dad, he grew up hunting, obviously, him and his brothers, his whole family. He was adopted. So his dad, who adopted him, brought him into it and thankfully taught him how to do it, because if not, I wouldn't be into it.
For sure, yeah.
And he taught my sister. She is 13 years older than me. And that kind of started, like, he loved to teach us. Like he would, we always would joke about the youth hunt, like no dad likes to go.
Yeah.
But it's always, especially now that I'm older, looking back at the pictures of how proud my dad was of me, even to have like a little spike.
Yeah.
So he got into it. He taught my sister. I was born, and then all my extended family was already into it. And I would go to deer camp, and I'm like, hey, I want to do that. Or I'd go sit with him, and I'd play on my DS in the blind, because I was too young to hunt too. And I think when I turned about 7 was the first time I went out. I went out with my dad and my sister.
Okay.
And shot a doe the first time, and it was like the spark that started it all.
Oh, sure, it lights that fire, right?
Yeah. And it was so fun. I can actually, like, even at sitting here at 21, I can still recall everything about it. And I was falling asleep, actually.
So tell us that story, your first deer.
So we were hunting in like a fence row behind our house. We used to live in Conklin. And it was me, my dad, and my sister in this tiny little tent blind. And I was like, it's too early. I don't want to go. So we all walk out there. I'm dragging my feet. Of course, my sister and my dad are like, pick up your feet. Come on. Like, hurry up.
Don't make the noise.
And so we get out there. We sit down. I'm like, okay, what happens now? I'm like, when did the deer come? He's like, I don't have an answer for you. You just have to wait. Like, well, this is boring. This is dumb. And so I'm like, I'm going to take a nap, whatever. My sister, she's talking to my dad. They're whispering, whatever. And I'm starting to fall asleep, and he goes, wake up. They're here. I'm like, who? And he's like, there's a deer. I'm like, and I just started shaking. I was so excited. And my sister, she's holding onto my shoulder. She's like kind of behind me. And she's like, you need to calm down. You need to take a minute. Just calm down. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. He's like, just like we practiced. And I sat on his lap, because obviously I'm like 7 at this point. And I had a 20 gauge shotgun. Okay. Same one I shoot to this day, because I can't get rid of it. And I puts it on my little tripod. I sit on his leg, and he's holding like my arms behind me. It's okay. Just squeeze gently. And this is where I picked up my habit of peeking. Oh boy. Was that day. I'm still a peeker to this day. And he said, okay, just squeeze. And I remember I was so excited. I couldn't find the trigger. I felt it, and then I like looked up, and then I was like, where'd it go? And I shot a really nice doe my first time. And I think I started crying. I was pretty sure I was crying. Oh, really? And I was like, is it dead? Everyone was so proud of me, and it was so great. And there's a picture actually of me, my dad, and my sister. We made my mom come out and take it. And I was so worried I was going to rip the ear off the deer. He's like, pick it up by the ears. And I'm like, it's not going to come off.
Is stuffing going to fall out?
So that was the first time I ever shot a deer, and that just kind of lit the fire. And ever since then, I've been pretty successful.
That's awesome. That's fun. You talked about, how much you shake and stuff. I mean, that happens to all of us. I mean, when that adrenaline hits you, it's like, how do I control myself? I remember my first deer I shot, I was actually hyperventilating. Sorry, everybody. Remy's coming to say hi. I was actually hyperventilating, so I was trying to figure out how to calm myself down, and I shot it with a bow. So when you're hyperventilating, typically your accuracy as an archer kind of goes out the window. But as you get as you develop more experience and have more opportunities and that sort of thing, I still, to this day, so I started hunting when I was 17. To this day, if I see a deer or the animal that I'm hunting, that adrenaline's still going, your heart's still racing, but again, you're much more experienced and you understand how to deal with that and just kind of incorporate that into your shot and your technique and stuff like that. And so it's a good thing if you're shaking and if your heart's pounding.
You're excited.
You're excited. You're out there. It goes back to exactly what we just said, the love of what you do, right?
Right.
If you don't get that adrenaline rush, if you don't feel that excitement, then why are you wasting your time out there? You know what I mean?
Right.
Why are you investing all that money? Right. I mean, that's part of being passionate about what you do. And that's kind of what we're talking about here at Fall Obsession. That's why we're all part of Fall Obsession, because we're passionate about the outdoors. We're passionate about conservation. We're passionate about, educating others. Right. And so it's a lot of what we do. So it's funny that you were talking about in the blind, your dad was like, hey, dude, I used to do that to Heather when Heather and I used to go out when we first started dating. She would fall asleep in the blind and start snoring. And
I'm a snorer. So I have frequent memories of being elbowed in the side by my dad and my sister, like, hey, you're being too loud.
I remember one of the first deer I shot, we were out. First of all, I got another story. Your dad was just talking about this just the other day. One of the first blinds. So Heather and I moved in here when just about a year after we first started dating. And I built the blind right away, right out here, right out front. Yeah. Right. All out of 2x4s. It was a 8x8. We call it an outhouse because it looks like an outhouse. We built it. Grandpa's old deck. Yeah. And we said, we forgot that we need to get it out back. How we can get it out back?
Oh, not we. You're the one that built it. It wasn't a we thing.
So we ended up just strapping it to her dad's tractor. We brought it out back, and we didn't put it exactly where we wanted it to because we couldn't get it there. It was just so heavy. We just dumped it.
Yep.
Fast forward to the following fall, we're out there. Heather's sleeping on the floor. I'm trying to get her to stop snoring, and have a doe pop up right in front. I'm like, oh, shoot. So I ended up shooting it. As soon as Heather jumps up, scared the crap out of her.
I did that to my big sister. So we hunt, we build box blinds, me, my dad, and my sister. Primarily just my dad and I. No hate to my sister. She still participates, but not as much. So we build these really nice, like 8x8 blinds. They're insulated. Some of them have the new ones. They all have electricity in them that run from our house. And we've recently been putting bunks in them.
Oh, so you can sleep in them.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll go out in the morning, or the night the day before, or really early in the morning. So you don't wake anything up when you come in.
Yep.
And we'll sleep out there.
Yeah.
So you have an advantage in the morning, not disturbing anything, letting them get into their normal routine. And my sister, she was asleep on the top bunk. And I said, I'm not going to wake you up. I'm just going to shoot.
Yeah.
And I did. And it was in one of the first ones we built where you had to just lay flat. There was no sitting up room. And she whacked her head on the 2x4 of the roof. And I shot a deer. She goes, you could have woke me up.
I did. That's why I shot.
I did. I told you I wasn't gonna wake you up.
That was your alarm. Just don't get snoozed.
So this is a friendly reminder to leave room in your bunks if you're gonna build one. So you have a little bit of sit up room.
So we have another one that we call the Death Star just because it's so huge. That we learned a little bit. We built walls up here and then we carried them out back.
That's how you do it. Yep.
So it was myself, Heather's brother, and Heather's and Jessica, our sister-in-law, so Ryan's wife. The four of us were just, we're just manhandled it and just walked it out back. And I ended up having back surgery after that. I think Heather was pregnant too at the time.
8 months.
8 months pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
So we got it out there, but it's huge. And so I've been remodeling. But one of the things that we talked about doing is putting bunk beds in it so we can go out there and stay the night before, and maybe a little bathroom in there, maybe a little I don't know how you would get electricity out there, but like a little fridge or cooler or something.
It was thankfully close enough to where we're building our new house in Sparta that I can A, see it out the back window, and B, it's close enough where you can run electricity too. And so it's nice because it's in a good spot where if I did want to just walk out in the morning from my house, it's not a big deal. But I've always loved staying out there the night before because I've been keeping track since we moved there and built the property or built our houses there of who had the most success if you went out in the morning or you went out in the night. I'm the record holder for staying out there the night before. Because it just allows the deer to get comfortable.
Sure.
You're not disturbing them in the morning.
You're not kicking them off the field.
And It's just like the way that those deer are patterned, where they come from in the morning in the field. If you come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to come down the driveway and scare them off the field. So you're going to throw off their entire day. So
one thing I did learn is on the flip side of this. So I know that some people out there are listening to us and saying, what if we can't stay out the night before? And what if I have to get up in the morning and walk out to my blind? One thing that I've noticed is that you are going to kick some deer out. I mean, it's hard to see in the dark unless you go out with night vision goggles or something, you know. And deer see better than us, but still, deer are very curious animals. They don't expect to see us out in the dark.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And so they know that something's up, but they don't know exactly what something up. Kind of like that farm tractor that comes out in the middle of the day during prime time, kicks all the deer off the field, and as soon as it leaves, 5 minutes later, the deer are back in the field. So it doesn't scare them away completely.
No.
So what I've learned is that, you might kick some deer off, but they're going to come back.
They will come back.
They're going to come back. You know, I know I went through many years of, hey, if there's a deer in the field, sit still until they're gone. Well, I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck in my stand way past dark because I was waiting for them to leave with that mentality that I'm going to spook them off and they'll never come back. Well, they come back. They're going to come back.
Right.
You know, even deer that are shot at either with a bow or a gun, they run off, but they're going to come back. You know, it's the...
I have an 8-point that is living proof of that, actually.
Yeah, well, that big deer I shot a couple years ago, I shot him twice from the same stand. I shot him week prior to the time I harvested him. He came right back to the same stand. Yep. So, but I think with that buck that I shot, yes, he was an older buck, and typically when you shoot and hit a buck, they're more educated. You know, they're already educated because they're, you know, they made it for so many years. They're older deer.
Right.
That educates them even more. But I was fortunate in that when he came back, it was prime rut.
Right.
And when they're in prime rut, they don't think about anything.
No.
You know, they're seeking out the ladies, and I actually had a doe bring him right to me. So that's exactly what his focus was. Not that, hey, I was just shot over here a week ago. You know, it was, there's a doe, I'm after her. And so, so I tell people all the time, listen, don't be scared about kicking deer, chasing deer. They're gonna come back. Right. You know, so
I promise they do come back.
I promise. Yeah.
Even if it's like as you're walking out, as you finally pack up your stuff, it's probably gonna come back.
Absolutely. And so one of the things we talked about last night on our get together, I don't remember if you were on at that time. I know you said your phone died. And so
I pulled it up and I was like, oh, and I went to say something and it turned black. I was like, well, okay.
So one thing that we were talking about, Ryan brought up the point that he's busy right now putting his stands up. And we're in June, putting his stands up for next fall when they start hunting in October in New York. Yeah. Because he wants the deer, to your point, to get used to the settings, to get comfortable, knowing that something is different in that tree. And by the time hunting season comes, he wants the deer just to be completely relaxed as they see it. Somebody brought up the fact that, but you're still in the stand. So deer will see that stand and they'll see that there's another shape added to the top of that stand. They might not know exactly what it is, but they'll know that something is different. And again, they'll get curious, or they might get a little weary, but try to figure out what it is. And I had heard at one point, I had read an article somewhere that yes, people put stands out early to get the deer acclimated to it, right? But I also heard of people putting like mannequins up there.
I have also heard that to get them used to the shape.
The extra shape. Yeah.
If you're going to be up there, it's going to be a new shape, and it's not a shape they're used to. So you might as well get them used to the shape that's going to be there.
Right. So I myself have never tried that just because I don't have mannequins just laying around my house. But it totally makes sense, 100% sense. And then that brought us to the conversation of camo and camo patterns. Yeah. And you know, I brought up to the group a couple of years ago, I was looking at different camos and patterns and asking, is it because you have different types? You have the desert camo, you have the woodland camo, you have the snow camo, you have all different types of camo patterns. And I just kind of threw it out to the Fall Obsession group and said, hey, what do you think would be more beneficial, the color of the pattern or the fact that there are more shapes within the pattern to break it up? Consensus was exactly that. And then that brought us right to Hoot Camo, which is one of our great sponsors. So we wear Hoot here, and man, their pattern, the breakup of their pattern is just phenomenal. I don't think I've ever gotten busted wearing Hoot just because of the way that the pattern breakup is there are other times where I've wore others where it's just generic camo, kind of like what I have on my shorts here.
Yeah.
This is not, this is just, I think this is a Walmart brand short. But anyway, where deer will come out and look right up at you.
Yeah.
Especially like the mature deer, they'll come out and just look right up at you.
I even have that in the box blind. So one thing we've learned to be careful with is if you're sitting between two windows, you have to make sure the one behind you is covered.
Absolutely.
We have camouflage mesh that covers it because they can see the outline up there of my head. Even if I'm in full face paint, which I always am because I have a white face. I have a bright face.
Say that again for Anthony and Ryan and Kess. You wear what?
I have a white face and I wear full camo. Face paint.
Face paint.
Yes.
They were teasing me because I wore face paint when I went to New York.
No, I always wear face paint because I feel like my cheeks are so bright that white is such a standout color to deer that I get busted so easily.
Well, not only that, but the oils. We have natural oils on our face, and the sun or whatever. If it hits you just right, you'll get that glare, that sparkle, right? And you don't realize it as humans, right? It's just a natural thing for us. I equate it to when we go snow goose hunting with Andy up in North Dakota, and when we went with him in Missouri, he talked about how early morning hunts are kind of tricky if we leave the decoys out because you get that layer of frost and you get that sparkly. Right. So I equate the oils and the shiny from our face to that exact same thing. If the geese can see it when they're up in the sky, of course they're going to avoid it. If deer can see it in the field, of course they're going to avoid it. They see that something's different. Right. So I use either face paint or I put a mask on. And if it's colder out, usually later in the year when it's colder, I get a thicker mask. I have a fleece like neck gaiter for the colder months. But back to hoot camo, their pattern breakup is great because my story about what being seen through the windows, I could be in all black. One thing I remember was I was in all black, just like a turtleneck because it was early bow season. Didn't really need camo. I'm in a insulated box. I don't really need much. Right. And even just being an outline up there and being like a solid color, I got busted big time. Oh, really? I got busted by a 10-point. It was really unfortunate. Even with just the black outline with a black background. That's cool. Yeah. Even with the covering. So we've learned what we need to wear, what you need to be careful with, how you position yourself in there also, because if you have deer come from one direction, they can see through two windows at a time and they can put you in that spot. So it's interesting you bring that up. So how do you position yourself in the blind? So we have 2 1x1 windows on each side. We have a big 5-foot window and 3-foot windows on the sides. And I am to the left because I'm right-handed. My sister's left-handed. So I'm used to having also someone sit with me. But even when it's just myself, I am like front left corner usually because not too far front because if I lean back, I can get behind the window. I get out of the window if I need to. But I'm also not seen in my firing lanes because I'm in the corners. The corners are in the way, which is also where I get busted because they'll poke their head around and I got to do one of these. Yeah, exactly. So one thing I've learned throughout my years is that I try to make myself as skinny as I possibly can. I know it's gotten difficult over the years because it's harder to lose, but I try to make myself, when you're sitting square like this, you have more surface area animals can see. So regardless if I'm in a box blind or up in a tree stand or whatever the case may be, I always try to turn myself. So I position myself so I am, like I said, skinny. So your surface area is just this instead of the square you. And if I have a stand that's set up square to where I have to shoot, I always sit sideways. I always sit kind of sideways like that. And then I just kind of lean back against the tree. And I always make sure that during bow season that I don't have any branches or anything in the way. Absolutely. But if I can, I try to set my stands up so it's automatically situated like that. So I'm sitting sideways. Again, my philosophy is like you said, I'm right-handed, so I have to have that clearance on that side. I need to have all my room over here. Right, exactly. And then B, I don't want a lot of surface area showing. Right. And so if I have a deer come through, I still, even with the mask or anything down, I always put my head down as well. I do one of these numbers too. My head down, or I'll tuck my chin in. Yep, exactly. Because I think if they're in close enough to you, you've already won the the scent battle.
Yeah.
You know, if they smell you and they still come in close, that just means they're curious and trying to figure out what you are. You know what I mean? The second thing is you got to win the vision battle.
Yep.
You know, and that is being as still as you possibly can.
Yep.
Try to, again, reduce your surface area, reduce the amount that the deer can see of you, whether it's, like we said, tucking our face.
Right.
Or there are sometimes I'll just really tuck up against the tree. So I try to make myself mesh into the tree as much as I possibly can. So, and then of course the third is the hearing. Hearing isn't as much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because once you're settled, it's easy to be quiet unless
you're in a rolling chair that needs WD-40.
Oh, yeah. You know, that's funny because there are times I've gone out with a cold. And I guess, and you don't want to sniffle because every time you sniffle, you're making noise, right?
So
you just kind
blow
of
your nose.
But then you get the random cough, and it's like you get the tickle in your throat, and you're trying not to cough. Even doing that, I've had deer come up.
Yep.
But you have one little squeak from either a chair, or sometimes you just shift in your tree stand, and
even like the platform on the tree, they'll squeak. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they bust you right away, and then they're gone.
Yeah. They can hear. So the only flaw about our box blinds that we have is we have not insulated the floors. So we have like a trap door on the bottom.
Oh, so it's hot. Boom, boom.
Yeah. So anytime, and it's carpeted. So anytime you roll like back a little bit, like even if I'm like on my shelf, I have a little shelf with all my stuff.
Yeah.
And I like roll back to go back into my spot, and I roll between where the edge of the door meets the floor. It goes clunk, clunk, and I'm done. Might as well go home.
Right.
But they come back.
They do. They come back. So if we were to ask Marissa, what is your dream hunt? What's one hunt that you want to go on? What would you say? Well,
I'm pretty sure I'm going to South Africa. So
you are? Yep. Are you going with Tim's group?
No, my dad and his best friend and one of his daughters, we're going to go on like a little family trip in October of next year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really looking forward to that. However, my dream is actually Colorado.
Really? Okay.
Because my dad got to go with his dad at a really young age. I think he was just out of high school. So a little bit younger than I am now. Right. And they had a great time just camping together, hanging out. And they saw a bunch of amazing scenery, and just to be out in that area and all those different animals compared to what we're used to in West Michigan here. That is the dream. I want to camp in Colorado, and I want to hunt for like 2 weeks.
Like elk, muley, all of the above?
All of the above. Okay. Anything possible that's not in Michigan.
Gotcha. Rifle, archery, either, both?
Both.
Gotcha. And then in South Africa, what are you thinking? Is there a particular species you're after, or is it just whatever you
want a zebra.
You want a zebra?
I want a zebra.
Wow. Sam and Andy could probably hook you up with something like that.
Nope. I want a zebra and whatever else I can get lucky enough with. Obviously, I want to bring something home, but the goal is a zebra, just because I think they're like the coolest animals to have taxidermied also.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Because the detail that it takes for them to like clean up the stripes and just make sure everything looks good. Right. Because I've seen what my taxidermist does, because he like hosts these trips and he says the amount of detail that goes into taxidermying non-native species is insane.
Sure, exactly. So sticking with the hunting theme, I asked you a question when you were talking about how you go from college. You know, what advice would you have to somebody younger? Hunting being more of a male-dominated sport, and traditionally has been, we are getting more female participation in it. What advice would you have to give somebody who is a female and you're participating, using this platform, because obviously we're out in the public being with the opportunities to be able to use platforms like this. What advice would you have to a female in a male-dominated type of sport?
Ask questions. Ask your questions. You might get looked at funny because like I've had blonde jokes made about me because I'm like, hey, what again? And all I can say is to continue to ask your questions and really push yourself into it. Like, yeah, it's nervous and nerve-wracking. It's scary being in a male-dominated like profession or hobby. Like even I can say the same thing about golf. There's not a lot of female golfers, but ask your questions and do everything you can to insert yourself into the sport. Like for me, getting into bow hunting, none of my family really bow hunts. So for me to get into it, I had to go to like a bow shop and I had to talk to different guys about it. And there were no women working. And I'm like, I know I sound really stupid, but I want to get into it. And just make sure you have the love and the drive for it. Like we've been saying this whole episode, Looking back to my younger self, I would have told her to just get up in the morning and go. And like, if you want to go hunting, go. Don't be afraid to go after it. That I think is the biggest barrier for women in men's like professions. Like I was saying, is just having an overall fear of not being like accepted.
Okay.
But like when I come into the campfire chat, the first one I was ever in, I was terrified. I was like,
sure, because you
I'm
had all the guys.
21. I'm a woman, and there's no Heather. I was like, okay. But obviously, fall obsession is so great and accepting, anyways, that I really wasn't worried because once I was in, it was fine. But my younger self, I would have told her, be a little more brave.
Sure, exactly.
And don't be afraid.
Perfect. That's great advice. Great advice. Well, I appreciate you sitting down and talking to us this episode. And
yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, it was a blast.
It's always a blast to get together with our staffers. And for those of you who maybe tune in for the first time, check us out. We are on Carbon TV Network. We also have our podcast on Waypoint TV along with Carbon TV Network. Also on YouTube. We also have our website, fallobsession.com. Go check that out. We have all kinds of great stuff on there. We have apparel. We have all kinds of recipes. We have all kinds of articles. We have all kinds of gear reviews. Check it out. Check out some of our great sponsors like Wiley X and Hoot Camo we've already alluded to. So have a lot of really good stuff. So anyway, check that out. This is Marissa. I'm Todd. We're Fall Obsession. Stay obsessed.